Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report, and today's show is presented by Panda Subs. If you've had a hell of a week like I think Jeremy Chugs and I had, and you're like, you know what? You look down, I got to get into better shape. Use code Raiders at pandasubs.com for 20% off. That link's going to be available to y'all down in the comments, down in the description. I have been on a protein kick from Panda, and I'll tell you which flavors right now are my favorite ones. Coming up here on today's show is I'm going to be breaking down how the Texans and Vikings' huge NFL draft trade impacts the Las Vegas Raiders, because if you don't think it impacts the silver and black, you better wake the hell up, because the Vikings are doing something, and they are clearly having a plan right now for a quarterback. So we're going to be breaking down this trade. I'll also tell you what 3 QBs Minnesota is targeting, according to a source close to the Vikings that we have here at Chat Sports. Then, at the very end of today's show, one of the Raiders players had a contract restructure. I'll tell you who it is, what it is, and then we'll also talk about Keenan Allen getting traded to the Chicago Bears. If you missed it, this was the huge trade that went down today. The Vikings, they're going to receive pick number 23 and a 7th-round pick at 232. The Houston Texans, they're going to get the 2nd-round pick from Minnesota at 42. Remember, the Raiders pick at 44. A 6th-round pick this year, and then a 2025 2nd-round pick. The way that I would look at this is, realistically, I think both sides win this trade. To me, Minnesota is obviously going with a, we'll call it younger, like we got to win, I think, right now type of path, which is kind of funny because, you know, these teams swapped Grenard. They also swapped Daniil Hunter on top of that. To me, Minnesota's going to get a quarterback. Houston says we already got our quarterback in C.J. Stroud, and if we can build a little bit more this year and then also stack on, this just shows that DeMeco Ryans is very comfortable where he is currently at right now with this regime. So my question to you is this. Are you worried that the Vikings will trade up for a quarterback? Give me a yes or give me a no down below. And you know what? This is the pinned comment. Like, this is why I made this video, because if you don't think that Minnesota has a clear path, a clear plan at the QB position after this trade, you better wake up. So am I worried that the Vikings are going to trade up for a quarterback? My answer, after this YouTube ad break. Am I worried? Honestly, no, I'm not that worried, because to me, I don't think the quarterback that Minnesota ends up taking is the quarterback that I want for the Las Vegas Raiders. The problem is, though, I am planning on them trading up for a QB. Am I worried? No, because the people that I think that they're targeting, I don't think we're going to be who the Raiders were targeting. Do I think that the Vikings are going to trade up for a quarterback now? Yeah, man, I think it's absolutely positively going to happen. And I'm a big believer. Where there is smoke, there is fire, and then this trade ends up going down. Then there was a report that came out on Move the Sticks that said it sounds like that 4 quarterbacks are going to go in the top 6. More rumors start to come out then around the New York Giants, potentially targeting a guy like J.J. McCarthy at pick number 6. All I know is there are a lot of teams right now making certain positions and really going forward and trying to get one of those top quarterbacks in the draft. Raiders pick at 13. I know the silver and black want Jayden Daniels, and a lot of people want them to take a QB. But watch out, man. There's some other teams playing some chess, and I hope the Raiders don't just stick around and try to play checkers. Now, the way that you're never going to miss a moment here around the silver and black is if you hit that subscribe button. Stay locked in around the Raiders. I got you covered. Videos every single day, no matter what. I promise you, if you subscribe, you will get a video every day here on this channel. Jeremy Chugs and I, we're going to be going live at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, and we're going to be live probably for about 4 or 5 hours today. If hopefully, fingers crossed, the Raiders actually end up signing somebody. But the other reason why it's very important to subscribe to this channel, especially in March and April with free agency and leading up to the draft, we're also going to tell you what other things happen in the NFL and how it impacts the silver and black, because at the end of the day, like, those are the things that I personally would want to know. So we reached out to our Viking source here at Chat Sports, and I said, tell me, what does this trade mean to you? He said that there are 3 quarterbacks that he believes that the Vikings are potentially eyeing right now that you could trade up for, with Minnesota having the 11th overall pick and the 23rd overall pick now in the first round. When you look at the trade value chart, those 2 picks alone is enough value to get up to the number 4 spot, which is the spot that we always talk about on this show. If Jaden Daniels falls past the top 3 picks, could you potentially trade up to number 4? Well, now what if Minnesota is eyeing one of those picks? If I'm Arizona and I'm sitting there and I'm getting multiple draft calls, I'd actually rather have the pick 11 and pick 23 minus than the Raiders at 13 and then backloading. Like, if I'm Arizona, I'm trying to get those 2 picks. So that's definitely impacting the Raiders. But what I was told is Drake Maye is the number 1 target for the Minnesota Vikings. And if that also ends up being true, Drake Maye was the one quarterback that we thought could potentially slide down the board a little bit. Now, if you're the Vikings and you also know that I want to do everything in my power to go up and get a QB, you could give up pick 11, pick 23, a 2025 first-round pick and try to slide up even higher if maybe one of those other teams doesn't fall in love with the North Carolina quarterback. And I know after the 2023 season, there was a lot of people like, did he regress a little bit? No, to me, that he just did not have nearly as much talent. But when you look at what Minnesota had, and they had Kirk Cousins, and then you got to go out there, you got to replace him. You're trying to find a QB that ends up fitting in your Kevin O'Connell, Kwesi system here. And I do think Drake Maye is a phenomenal fit from top to bottom in that system. And then you pair him with a running back like Aaron Jones. I do think it would be a kind of an interesting thing to think about. Another quarterback that was mentioned to me by our Viking source is Jayden Daniels. And this was more of the third option that he believes that Minnesota would potentially target. I know that we really like Jayden. When I see this trade go down, it does not say anything like, oh, the Vikings are going to go get Daniels. To me, no. It means that they're going to try to go get either Drake Maye or the quarterback that we're about to mention. And realistically, I was kind of happy that I saw this trade go down, because the one thing that I am very, very afraid of with this organization is them reaching on a QB that I do not want them to take in the top 13 picks. And the quarterback that scares the hell out of me is J.J. McCarthy. I think if Minnesota doesn't have the opportunity to get Drake Maye, he's off the board, they're still going to target McCarthy. I think McCarthy and Maye are the top 2 targets for Minnesota. And based on a lot of the reports that have came out in just the last hour, it sounds like McCarthy is going to be a top 6 pick. Whether maybe that's Minnesota, maybe that's somebody like the New York Giants going to get there. So I see this trade go down, and I actually think it's good news for the Raiders. I do. Call me crazy if you want. I'm calling myself crazy even. I don't want J.J. McCarthy to be in silver and black, and if this is a trade that potentially means that the Vikings are going to get him, that another NFL team like the Giants is like, well, shit, we might have to take him now at pick number 6. To me, this trade helped out the Raiders, not hurt them. I think that this helped them out and potentially have a better path at getting a QB like Jayden Daniels if he does not go off the board in those top 3 picks. Now, today's show is presented by Panda Subs, and if you haven't already got started with our awesome friends here, then I want you to really take advantage of this, because this is the time of the year where, I'm not going to lie to you, I start thinking about, the sun coming out. I want to be able to be confident when I'm chilling next to the pool, next to Alex. I want to be able to go out, chill out in my backyard with Chuck and, catch a few sun rays. And to me, this is the time of the year that I really, really try to get rid of some of the fat that I packed on during football season and just try to be a happier, healthier me. One of the things that I love is protein shakes. I do, now that I got my Ninja Creamy, the best protein in the world for a Ninja Creamy, I'm telling you, is Panda Subs. The mint chocolate chip is my new favorite protein. I know before I've talked about their fruity one. I think their chocolate one is very good. This mint chocolate chip is unbelievable. There is actually chunks of mint chocolate chip cookies. It's almost too good to be true. But the fact that there's 30 grams of protein, the fact that there's 150, 160 calories, this is very good tasting protein. I got a sweet tooth, and it hits right on the mark there. If anybody out there loves to make protein pancakes, the one that I would recommend is the Fuel. Awesome, awesome protein on top of that. The other part that I love is you can take some of this, and it's going to curb your hunger. There's sometimes I'll have a protein shake, and an hour later I'm hungry. With the multi-stage protein that Panda Subs has, you can have your protein shake, and it's going to take care of you if you're for a few hours, maybe until, your next meal that you're actually trying to sit down for. Full transparency here, when I have my protein shake, I try to have one around 1, 2 o'clock, and then that way when I get home for dinner time, I'm hungry, and Alex and I, we can sit down and we can eat. I just try not to overeat when I'm here at Chat Sports, unless I know, shit's about to get a little bit wild. So again, if you want to go get started with Panda Subs, code Raiders, 20% off at pandasubs.com. Let's get into some more Raiders news here that has gone down today. Jakobi Meyers, he has restructured his contract, freeing up $4.2 million that the Raiders are now going to be able to spend in salary cap space. If I had to take a projection based off of where I think the Raiders are at salary cap-wise after the post-June 1st with Jimmy Garoppolo, with them officially releasing all the players that they did. Spotrac over the cap, from what I'm looking at, somewhere around $25 million, though I don't see the updated numbers here with Jakobi Meyers. I'm just going to say they're around $29, $30 million is my best guesstimate on how much space the Raiders have. And I know first day we came out swinging. Christian Wilkins, Gardner Minshew, the past 3 days have been a little bit quiet. I'm really, really hoping that the Raiders make a splash in free agency today, maybe at the corner position. I've always said Adoree Jackson, Xavier Howard. I do think that makes some sense. There's also been a lot of rumblings about potentially could the Raiders trade for a Marshawn Lattimore, a Jair Alexander. I've mentioned James Bradbury before. All I know is if the Raiders make a trade, you better subscribe because it's going to get nuts here on the show. I did think about going live for this trade that ended up going down yesterday. The Chicago Bears acquire Keenan Allen. The Chargers get a fourth-round pick number 110. What's kind of crazy about this is, you're going to have Keenan Allen, DJ Moore probably catching footballs from Caleb Williams. With even more of these, rumors that have come out about the Vikings, about, the Giants potentially targeting a QB, this makes me honestly wonder if the Raiders should potentially target Justin Fields in a trade, and could you potentially get him for a fourth-round pick, a third-round pick, a fifth-round pick even, if you know that they're not going to be able to get rid of him. For Los Angeles now, and for Justin Herbert, you got to be sitting here going, who the hell am I going to throw the football to? You cut Mike Williams, you traded away Keenan Allen, Gerald Everett signed somewhere else, Austin Eckler is no longer a part of this team. I know that the media is probably still going to push the envelope of, this is Jim Harbaugh, Justin Herbert. They're going to be just fine. With the rumors around the Vikings, with that trade that happened yesterday, to me now, there were some people asking, could the Chargers potentially trade with the Raiders at pick number 5? No. I mean, the fact that they just cut Mike Williams and traded away Keenan Allen, you better get ready to lock and load. They're going to take either a Marvin Harrison Jr., a Rome Odunze, or a Malik Neighbors. Those are going to be one of their top 3 picks. So to me, you're starting to see now more and more and more of maybe the top 6 picks are not getting dealt. If you're Minnesota, you're probably trying to target now in the top 4 picks. The Giants are at 6. I don't see the Chargers trading out of that spot now because you've got to get Justin Herbert a quarterback or a wide receiver. The Raiders' path at trading up, I do think, gets a little bit tougher. However, Jayden Daniels, if that's still your guy, you might want to hold out a little bit of hope because I don't see the Vikings or the New York Giants. Maybe the Giants try to target him at 6, but I'm just hoping that McCarthy or one of these guys goes off the board. So again, I'm getting ready to get on out of here. I'm going to be rocking my Justin Abgen jersey. He was the MVP yesterday. He also was the winner of the Little Ass Boy jersey. Join us today. We're going to be live. We're going to be waiting, and hopefully the Las Vegas Raiders can get a big-time deal done to spark some confidence going into the weekend. I'll see you guys here in about an hour. Remember, we're going live at 1 p.m. Eastern Time here on the Raiders Report.